welcome to One Cardinal, One Cub, and One Beer. And if you'll notice, JJ looks a little weird, little thinner. Did you go on a diet?
Mountain Dew diet, baby.
We've had some technical issues.
Oh,
And, so JJ's having to use his phone instead of the computer. So that's why JJ is looking the way he does. And he has a professional technical advisor who just happens to not be working tonight. You need to fire that guy.
yeah, he's got a big they're singing. The kid, he's in like a octet, and they're performing over in Central High School tonight. So that's where he's at.
And exactly what kind of priorities does he have?
Exactly. That's what I told him as he drove off down the road.
All right. Well, at least we're working again. We're back.
Amen.
So,
That's right.
Thank you for joining our show. This is the tomorrow. Well, by the time you hear this, baseball season will have started in Korea. But it starts at 5:05 Central Time. The game does. I am getting up. I always get up early anyway. I'm getting up to watch that game. Gonna make me some breakfast, and I'm just going to have a glorious time. I'll probably edit this while the game's on, and yeah, it's gonna be fun.
That's gonna be a good time.
Go Padres. Okay. I do want to remind you to like us on Facebook. You can contact us through onecard1cup1beer@gmail.com. You can support our efforts through Patreon for as little as $3 a month. Or if you're feeling really ambitious, $10 a month.
Woohoo!
For efforts. And
if we get $20 more, I'll be able to use the computer again. So come on, people.
Right. Every dollar that we do collect, we pump back into the show. That's why we have such a limited production value, because we don't have a ton of Patreons, but we do appreciate those that we have. So if you do want to be a contestant in one of our future trivia contests, if you want to be on a panel, if you have an interesting baseball story, anecdote, conversation, and you'd like to be a guest, please let us know. You can drop us an email. You can DM us. You can comment on YouTube or Spotify or whatever platform. Those of you who listen to the podcast, leave us a note. Let us say, hey, man, I'd like to be on your show, because we like to have our friends on the show. We do.
Okay? Yes.
We don't like to have our enemies on the show, because at the end, we always have to shoot them. This got dark really quick, didn't it? So, JJ, do you know why I'm wearing the New York Knights shirt?
Well, did you see the movie this weekend or something?
No.
No. New York Knights. Why would you be wearing? Oh, our New York friend who won the contest?
No. He's a Mets fan, not a Knights fan. So
oh, okay. Well, New York.
It's the 40th anniversary. 40 years ago, The Natural was released.
So all right.
I went to go see it in the theater with my girlfriend. And after the movie, I was in tears. I just wanted to hit home runs into light towers, stuff like that. I wanted to get shot by this evil woman. I really wanted to be Roy Hobbs. Those of you who've not seen The Natural, you need to watch it. It's very, very cheesy and hokey, but man, it does its job. It pulls your heartstrings.
I like the look of that movie. It looks like that time period. You know, it's really cool with the trains and the outfits they're wearing and things like that. The clothes, very cool.
Do you know where they filmed that?
Cooperstown, maybe something like that.
Buffalo, New York.
Buffalo, New York. Who would have known, man? I didn't know that.
Yep. So it's pretty cool. How you doing?
Doing good, Vince. Doing good. Baseball season's. I mean, we're at the doorstep of it. Today, I was driving home from work, and it was 73 degrees here in mid-Missouri. And Vince, it was just one of those moments. I don't know if you've ever had this where you got the windows down, the wind's blowing, our team is in first place. Well, we're tied with 5 other teams right now. There's so much hope and optimism. And ELO, Mr. Blue Sky came on the radio, and it's just, man, the world seemed perfect. So
it is a beautiful day, particularly once it got past like 2 o'clock. It warmed up and the wind quit. We had a cold breeze coming through for the first half of the day. So once that stopped, it was just beautiful. Um, you brought up an interesting point, and that has absolutely nothing to do with baseball. I cannot ride in a car with the windows down. I don't know why. I have to have the windows up, and there's two modes. Either the heat is on or the AC is on. I have mornings when I have the heat on, and I get to a point where I turn the AC on. I cannot drive with the window, which is weird because growing up, we didn't have a car with air conditioning until I was like 6th grade. So always rode around with the windows down or in the back of a pickup or, something completely unsafe. And then when I got my first car when I was, I think 17 or 18, when I got my first car, um, it had an aftermarket because it was like a 1976 Dodge Aspen. It had an aftermarket air conditioner put in there. So, yeah, so I had to reach down and hit a switch to turn the compressor on. And then when it conked out, I was a college student. I didn't have the money to get it fixed. So I just had the windows down. And then the next car I got was a Dodge Omni that had AC. And I don't think I have driven with the windows down since. I'm a weirdo.
I've got a great, I don't know if I should say this on here, but a great prank. If you want to prank one of your buddies, if you take the little, I don't know what you call it, like the little thing where the air comes out of, and you put some glitter in there, when they turn the air conditioner on, that glitter will go everywhere. So I'm just saying that's a great prank. You're shaking your head.
I was going to, first of all, thank you for assuming that I have buddies. I mean, most people assume I don't. But yeah, I've tried that trick before. And immediately my friends start shuffling dollar bills because they think that they're in a strip club or something. So,
Right.
So anyway, it's nice. The other day I did make steaks out on the deck, and I did some maintenance on the deck, and I have to build me a lounger on the deck because I do want to lounge on the deck.
Yeah.
And then we got so many projects to do. We have to get new windows on the house. We need to replace the front porch, which is going to be a task. Violet is moving out in August to go to college. And so we're actually moving our bedroom into her bedroom. And then our bedroom we're making into a TV room. And, I'm going to build a Murphy bed that will come out of the wall. So when like my grandson stays all night, he can have his own place. So a lot of stuff to do this summer. And of course, I have to watch a lot of baseball. So do anything this week?
Just doing some shows. Just throwing a thing out there. Big show at Tetro's May 4th. We're still putting Dan Rutledge, who's on this show quite a lot, is putting the show together, and he's got the roster just about set, but I'm not supposed to say who's on it yet. But it ought to be a good one. So if any of you are in Festus May 4th, come on out. It'll be a good time.
All right. I hope I can make it to this one. I didn't make it to the last one. It's only 10 minutes from the house. So hope
Life happens. I understand.
Yeah. Hope I can make it to this one.
I would like to also say that for next week, we're going to draw the teams for the fantasy baseball. And for our first fantasy baseball league, it's pretty simple. We're just going to pick a viewer and a team, and that's your team. And it'll be a team that did not make the playoffs last year. And right now we have 9 names of people who are very interested, and about 3 others I think they're going to come aboard. So, it'll be great. You might get the Tigers, you might get the Cubs, you might get the Cardinals, and it'll be fun. You can follow that
You might
team and
get the Nationals, you might get the Rockies,
the Oakland A's
get the
or
A's.
wherever they're at, the Nomads. And so that'll be your team you follow, and you might find a few new players to, just kind of keep an eye on. It'll be fun. And every week we'll update and tell you the standings. And at the end of the year, the team with the best record is going to win $100 worth of merchandise, and I'll start showing some of the things you'll win. I've got a Cardinal hockey jersey, things like that, So that'd be pretty. And I'm going to find some Cub stuff too. So not just for the Cardinal fans, for both sides.
Okay. Phil Brooks, is he on? Is he in it?
I haven't talked to him yet. We got 9, and you have heard all 9 names. They've either been on or sent messages in, one of the two.
Is Ray in?
Ray is in.
Ray is in. Okay.
Yeah.
Rutledge in?
Dan Rutledge is in. Yes, he is.
Big ratings, Jeff Phipps?
I got Dennis Rose, who on our 100th episode did a little video for us. Brandon Schmidt, who's been on here. Tom Majay, who sponsors a lot of the baseball card stuff. Ray Hartman, Larry Wildy, who watches every week. Robbie Spear, who's been on here. Dan Rutledge. Brody Jackson wants to play. I don't know if that's if he can or not, but he says, hey, I'd like to play. And Andrew Gieselman, the Gieselman. So there's 9 right there. Yeah.
That Brody guy, you need to let him play so maybe he can win this, because you're going to have to fire him from being your technical advisor.
Yeah. I don't know what the heck, man. Yeah, he's let me down this time.
I've had you can see a little stack there. I collect vinyl. My daughter also collects vinyl. My wife, she's starting to get into it. So I have a stereo that I got like 2 years ago, maybe 2 years ago, and I've loved it, and it's malfunctioned, and I took it apart and it can't be fixed. So I have to get another turntable.
Oh.
Just kind of disheartening.
Vince, what is it about the vinyl that really draws you to it? What is it that captures your attention there?
I just the nostalgia of it.
I'm with you.
I have a few here, like this is probably the newest one I got. It's Jack White, and this was put out in like 2017.
Oh, okay.
Part, most of my stuff is like this. Uriah Heep live, January 1973.
I seen him in concert.
You saw Uriah Heep in concert?
They opened for Def Leppard one time.
Oh gosh, that
is
yeah. Yeah,
like I've seen BTO open for Van Halen. That was pretty cool. Yeah. Sometimes the opening band, Cheap Trick is the greatest opening band. I've seen them open for everybody. Cheap Trick's a great opening band.
I finally saw Cheap Trick about 20 years ago when they were old. Now they're ancient.
They're very old.
But I don't think they have the drummer anymore.
No, Bunny Carlos. Yeah, he's just sitting out. He don't want to tour.
Yeah. Yeah, I went to go see them. They were at the Arch Grounds about 20 years ago. And on the Metrolink, going back to, I was with a date, and we were going back to my car, and then I had to take her home in Wentzville. Then I had to go all the way back to Collinsville because I was living there. But on the Metrolink, going back, Beetle Bob was on the Metrolink, late Beetle Bob.
He does a little dance. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So, and I hey, I've seen you at shows, and he's, didn't have much of a personality, but rest in peace, Beetle Bob.
Yes, Beetle Bob.
St. Louis, you have no idea who we're talking about, but this was a fixture at concerts, and
Oh yeah.
yeah, and
We've got some celebrities in St. Louis. Wanda, Queen of Carpet. She's rest in peace, Wanda. Gentry Trotter. I used to remember Gentry Trotter.
Trotter, yes.
Steve Mizrarini and the Decent Boys. Oh yeah, Uncle Leonard. There's some
Uncle.
great ones there.
Yeah. Oh, well, let's get into the baseball. Kind of go through general news and stuff like that. Garrett Cole of the Yankees will not be able to throw for 3 to 4 weeks, which means after he starts throwing, if he's feeling good, he's got to go through ramping up and getting ready, do a minor league rehab. So I wouldn't expect to see Garrett Cole in the majors, best possible scenario, till second, third week of May, maybe into the summer. Uh, so people were thinking, hey, the Yankees really need starter, there's Montgomery and there's Snell. Well, we'll get into that in just a moment. But so that's a big blow to the Yankees. JT Friedel of the Reds has a non-displaced fracture on his right wrist. No return date is given. And the Reds, who are expected to make some noise this year, that's going to be a big blow to him. So, or to them. So we'll see when we get more news if they get a date when he would be back. Max Scherzer, who had back surgery, is scheduled to resume baseball activities for the Rangers, which is good. Corey Seager is taking light swings, but is not sure about opening day yet. And Josh Young might be ready for opening day with his strained obliques. So it looks like the Rangers are starting to get healthy at the right time. The Astros, Jose Urquidy, probably not going to begin the season due to a right forearm strain. Kind of weird how he just kind of took himself out of spring training game. I'm done. Yeah. So, okay. Devin Williams of the Brewers has 2 stress fractures in his back that apparently the Brewers staff couldn't find, but when he got a second opinion, he found it. Oh, I told you my back hurt. He's going to be out for a total of about 3 months, and that's going to hurt the Brewers because that was the best thing that pitching staff had going for them at this point in time. So
I feel bad for them. It's just they got a good fan base. I'd like to see them competitive, but it doesn't look good.
My daughter is dating a Brewers fan from Milwaukee.
Oh wow!
I've already we had lunch last Sunday with Frankie Giannito's. Had lunch, and I told him I'm going to get you on the show. And there's a specific reason, not just that he's a Brewers fan. I want him on the show, and it's going to be a surprise to you. I want to see your face when you find out why he's on the show. So,
okay, all right.
hopefully within the next few weeks we can put that together. Baltimore's Kyle Bradish will start the season on the injured list with a UCL sprain. Not good news for Baltimore, but hey, they got Corbin Burns now, so very good. And JD Davis is signed with Oakland for 2.5 million. And last week I kind of talked about this and I didn't understand why. Well, someone emailed me an article that kind of explained it. See, I thought Davis just signed a free agent contract to go back to the Giants. It wasn't a free agent contract. He still had an arbitration year. It was an arbitration contract, and he won the arbitration. He got 6.9 million. Due to the termination being more than 15 days before opening day, the Giants were only on the hook for 1.1 million of that. So apparently, if someone wins an arbitration case, it's not like they're under a free agent contract. If you cut them in spring training, there's a minimum you have to pay. And if he would have been within 15 days, it would have been a little higher, but certainly not 6.9 million. So he went from 6.9 million this year to 3.6 million. Kind of got his salary cut in half, which like I said last week, I know these guys make a lot of money, but it's like anybody else.
That's
Uh,
right.
you make more money, you have more money, you buy stuff, you invest, you do this, you make plans, you buy houses and stuff, and that's got to really suck to be him.
And they
Uh,
only have so many years to make their fortune, to make it,
yeah,
so that's another year off the chart now. I mean, it's hard for us to relate to that, but I understand what you're saying. Yeah.
yeah, and the taxes is about 50%, and then you got 10% that goes to your agent, and yeah, then you got the paternity suits and the ex-wives and everything else, the children that come out of the woodwork with the DNA things with Maury Povich, hey, stuff like that. Oh, the Pirates, I love this. They signed Michael A. Taylor to a 1-year deal. Um,
Okay.
Michael A. Taylor is a Gold Glove caliber center fielder.
Yeah.
Um, he has bounced around. He's been with Washington. He's been with Kansas City. Um, who was he with last year? Was he with Kansas City last year? Was that a couple years ago? I don't remember. But anyway, um, the Pirates had Sawinski, I think that's his name, the kid out of Chicago, in
Yeah.
center field, and this will give them a much better glove in center field. Michael A. Taylor is not a great offensive player. He does have some pop in his bat. He's got a lot of speed. So you wouldn't call him like an all-star, but for a team like the Pirates who need some veteran leadership and you got a center fielder who can go out and catch the ball, I think it's a great signing. What do you think about that?
Oh no, he's a solid player. He's a veteran. He's been there and done that. It'll be great for the young players. And I think the Pirates have a good nucleus of their team, and he's a nice piece for them. You
Yeah,
know.
I really like that. The Reds have signed Justin Wilson to a 1-year contract. Justin Wilson, who pitched for the Cubs a few years ago, has done some closing. He's done some setting up. I think he's 36, 37 years old now. So he's definitely on the backside of his career. He was out all year last year with injury. Um, so the Reds, who have a very young team and a very young pitching staff, if he does make the team, this would be a tremendous boost to them to have that veteran in the bullpen kind of be a leader. And like I said, he's done just about everything out of the bullpen. And I've always liked him. Had his best years with the Tigers. Great addition if his health holds up. Jake Odorizzi, the pride of Highland, Illinois. He signed
Hey,
a minor league contract with the Rays, which means his career is completely revived because the Rays just kind of have that magic.
yeah,
So I'm happy for him that he's getting a shot with the Rays. Probably going to start the year in AAA this late into spring training, and if need be, there's a veteran arm you can bring up. The Braves have signed Adam Duvall to a 1-year contract, and one of the big reasons is because they traded for Gerald Kelnick from the Mariners and thought, oh, well, we can fix this guy and he's going to come here. And he's like 3 for 30 in spring training. So I thought, Adam Duvall, yeah, he can pop 20 home runs and catch the ball. So we'll see if they split time or how that's going to happen.
I still believe that Kelnick kid is a very good ball player. He just hasn't put together yet. I don't know what's missing. And
He kills the
Seattle,
Cubs, man. He's arrived. No, he only arrives in Chicago and then he kind of turtles
man,
himself into being a below average hitter. I don't get it.
I don't know either, but he looks like he's got all the tools to be a superstar. I don't know.
He does. The White Sox send Dylan Cease to the Padres for a haul of prospects. Good for both teams. Cease had a very difficult year last year, but that White Sox team was so dysfunctional. I'm really anxious to see like what Cease does, Tim Anderson, what some of these players do now that they're away from the White Sox, see if they can uh, bounce back. What do you think about that trade? And what do you think it does for the Padres?
Oh, it definitely helps them. I think it's a win-win for everybody. I don't know who the White Sox got. I didn't really check into that too much, but I don't a lot of people don't see them as being very competitive anyway. They might have got some young players who have some upside. Cease, I hope he recaptures his magic. That's a good place because they lost Snell and they lost Hader in their bullpen, so they were needing an upgrade. And I think it's a win-win right there for everybody. And I like to see Cease do good, except against us. There was a lot of talk in St. Louis about him coming here, and I was driving home from the Funny Bone and got a phone call. Can you believe the Padres got Cease? The Cardinals would go get him. I don't know what the asking price was or anything. I would like to have Cease, but I don't know if the Padres just gave up, a better package for the White Sox. That's all.
Yeah, I think this puts the Padres in a completely different light, and I'll get to that because this is the episode that we do our predictions, and
Oh yeah.
we do that when we do our predictions. Cole Calhoun officially retired. Had a very nice career. Always liked Cole. Played on some very mediocre Angel teams and still put up some good numbers. So hope he enjoys his retirement.
Yeah, I'd take that career. If you
Yeah,
you gave me that career, I would be proud to have that career as mine.
yeah, yeah. Now this is weird. For a year and a half, the Cubs had Marcus Stroman.
All right.
There are things I liked about Marcus Stroman. One of the things that I liked is he's not like other baseball players. He speaks his mind. Baseball players are very, by nature, more of a conservative, don't rock the boat type people. Um, Whereas Marcus Stroman gets on social media and tells you exactly what he thinks about anything, pitching, the team he's on, the ownership, social issues, anything. So when Garrett Cole went down, the Yankees offered Stroman the opening day start.
Yeah.
He declined it, and
That's odd.
he said he didn't want it to mess up his routine. And I've never heard of anybody saying, I don't want to start opening day. That's like an honor.
It always has been.
Yeah.
I maybe the game's changing. Guys used to take the ball and want to finish the game. Now they just want to get to the fifth inning. Maybe that's not a prestigious thing anymore. I still think most players are that, but maybe there are, a population of players out there. It's just a job, like a Rendon or something. And that's okay. Let somebody else do it. I'm not interested. Maybe that's changing times. I don't know, but I think probably most players still. I want the ball. I want to be the star. I want to go out and show you what I got.
It's
It's not,
it's a it's an ego thing. Of course, Garrett Cole is a better pitcher, but when they say, okay, Cole can't go, we want you to do opening day, that's them saying, we think you're the second best option on our pitching staff. We expect to go to the playoffs. And he says, nah, it's just gonna mess up my routine. I'm like, boy, sometimes I just don't get him, you know.
yeah.
The big news, yesterday I'd done all my show prep and my predictions and
Uh-huh.
went to bed, and I got up this morning and a huge monkey wrench was thrown into everything because Blake Snell got his 2 year, 62 million from the Giants, which includes an opt-out after 1 year. So that changes the complexion of the Giants, which
Yes.
changes the complexion of the American League West, which changed what I was going to talk about Snell, which was why nobody's paying him. Now I'm talking about why the Giants are in a different light. But anyway, I
He's got a 1 year. He can opt out after the first year of that
yeah,
contract. But Vince, I don't know about you, but why would you opt out? Even unless you won 30 games and could make even more money. But man, that's guaranteed money for another year after that. Really good money. I don't know. I couldn't see him opting out unless something come along
Uh,
big.
I was listening to a podcast, Ian Happ's podcast, and it's Ian Happ, Zach Short, who's I think he's probably going to make the Mets roster, opening day roster, and another guy who's not made much of himself is a major leaguer who's now working some other job, but they were all buddies in the minor leagues, so they have this podcast together, and they were talking about Snell and Montgomery, saying, "Well, some, this is ridiculous. I don't know what's going on." They're looking at it from a player's perspective, and they're all talking about, well, someone's going to come up, and give Snell that 5-7 year contract. I'm thinking, no, they're not. You wake up, players. Those days are over, unless you are a transcending player like Otani or Yamamoto. This is what baseball is going to be like for star pitchers, because pitchers are such a gamble. We'll give you a high AAV, but those days of having a 7 year contract, I don't see that happening anymore with pitchers. Do you remember
Mm-mm.
Wayne Garland?
Yes, I remember Wayne Garland.
Wayne Garland won 20 games. I think it was for Baltimore.
Okay.
And then he signed a 10 year contract with the Cleveland Indians and immediately was hurt. And he had it was $2 million over 10 years, which doesn't sound like a whole lot of money today, but it was $200,000 in the mid 70s, which was good money.
Good
And he
money.
invested it in a horse farm, and that kind of went under. And he couldn't show his face in public in Cleveland because he was the poster boy of players who sign big contracts and then get injured. And Sports Illustrated did an article about him in like the early 90s. And he said the last check he got, he was so happy was finally over. He just felt like that was a 10 year wait on him. It's not his fault that he got injured, but that that warning has been out there, that pattern has been out there since the beginning of free agency. Andy Messersmith injured. Why did it take 40 years for owners to say, you know what, I'm not going all these years on a pitcher anymore? I'm just not. And
Well, you would see these teams, the fans, we want, you see the Yankees all those years putting all-star teams together. But Vince, they went to the World Series in 81 and didn't go back until 96 and spent the most money every single year. But every once in a while it works. And I think that short-term memory, the fans, that's what they see. Like, oh, we could have went and got Roger Clemens, or this or that. But then on the other end, all the players have all the stress on them. Like A-Rod claims the reason he started doing steroids is he got that big contract from the Rangers and wanted to live up to it. So I don't know, but talk about things, the time going by. There was a year late in Stan Musial's career where he had, for him, a down year, and he took less money the next year because he didn't think he lived up to that contract. Wow, that's refreshing, Vince. But I don't think we're ever going to see those days either.
yeah. When you look at Snell's career, yes, he has won 2 Cy Young Awards, but other than that, he's been okay. He's not
Yeah,
been great. He's not been terrible, but he's been okay. And I think it was yesterday, Max sent me a text saying, "Would you do 2 years, Snell 2 years for 66 million?" But no, I wouldn't. I cannot stand the walks. I don't want to sign a 5 inning pitcher for that much money. If I'm spending that much money, $30 million a year on a pitcher, he better get me into the 7th inning on a regular basis. And
amen. That's true.
you're just not going to get that with Snell.
You've been
But
consistent on that. You've said that since I think the winter meeting started. You were like,
yeah,
no, I
no,
know he was Cy Young Award winner, but man, I can't take that. That is a strategy, though, of Seems like some of our pitchers, Cardinals especially, we go 3-2 on every single batter. It's so stressful, just get in there and challenge them. But yeah, I know what it is. Man, those walks do hurt. And eventually it's going to bite you, even if you got a great defense.
Yeah. Yeah. And so the only, I shouldn't say the only big time player the Boars still has is Montgomery, because JD Martinez is still out there.
That's right.
But Jordan Montgomery apparently won 7 years.
Ooh. Yeah.
And I guess his wife is in medical school somewhere in the East Coast, and he wants to be close to her, which I can, I understand that, but I just think it's time for pitchers to wake up and smell the coffee and say, hey, we're not the everyday players. Our injury rate is much higher, and when we miss, 5 starts, we've missed 20% of the season. So I don't think he's going to get 7 years. I think the best he can do is 2 or 3 years with the opt-outs. I just think that's where we're going. And apparently that's too rich right now for even the Yankees blood. So
Vince, what do you think about this? I call it like the Trevor Bauer model. He kind of bet on himself every year. He'd sign 1 or 2 year contracts with a lot of incentives, and then he'd go back out into free agency. He kept kind of doing that. And I think that could be a way of the future where here's the base rate, but if I pitch this well, if I give you 200 innings, if I win 15 games, if I strike out so many people, then I get this much. I think that'd be great for the game. That's kind of how what used to be, a lot of incentives and things like that. And then you get rewarded for going out there and performing. I kind of like that.
yeah, I love incentive-laced contracts, even for position players, because it does give you incentive to go out and be a better person, a financial incentive. It's very easy, and it doesn't happen often, because to get to this level as an athlete, you have to be competitive. Almost have to be competitive. There are some people who reach that level that aren't too terribly competitive. They're just so naturally gifted, and they don't work at it. Excuse me. But I saw the Cubs, what, 15 years ago or so, signed Milton Bradley. Man, that guy, it's a basket case, and he had no desire to get better. He just made it in life with his great hitting ability. But he didn't work to get any better, and just
Coasted.
Yeah. So what's going on in Cardinal news?
Well, we got some big news. We got some big, spring training's going on and all. And it's so good to be here Tuesday, even though it's an odd arrangement we have tonight. Hopefully next week will be better on the visual here. But the Cardinals, it was kind of a surprise, but they signed Ollie Marmol to a 2-year extension on his contract. He was on his last year of his contract. A lot of people said he was on a hot seat after the Cardinals' first losing season in 15 years. But we brought Yachty in, and Albert's coaching, and there was a lot of fans talking, maybe Yachty will be the coach next year, maybe Albert. And the Cardinals, or John Mozeliak in particular, showed how much he thought of Ollie. And I think Mozeliak's around for 2 more years, so he gave him a 2-year contract. Now, with the amount of money Ollie's making, if something does go wrong, it's not the end of the world. And I've seen a lot of managers sign extension and they're gone that year. That's just the part of the game right there. You're hired to be fired kind of thing. They don't stick around forever. But he's been coach here for 2 years, and his first year was a very good year. They were 93 and 69, but that was a year where we played the majority of our games within a division. Then last year we went with this new schedule, and we were 71 and 91 and last place. So you don't see that often, a last place manager getting a 2-year extension. But Ollie, Cardinals do like stability, and he's apparently good behind the scenes, we don't know what's going on, but they say he's good with the young players, but I have not seen that, Vince. Last year, the whole debacle with Contreras, and I mean, I could go on and on with some of the how it kind of went down last year, and
Tyler
so
O'Neill.
yeah.
He,
Oh, yeah, that should have been handled in house. I mean, that's kind of a I don't, I'm not a manager, but I think you go behind and you could talk to him man to man, then not go out in front of, on the cameras and stuff like that. So Ollie's going to be around this. He's going to be around anyway this year. But he got a 2-year extension, so we'll see what happens. I'm excited about this upcoming year.
do you think
Sonny,
that do you
go
think
ahead.
that some of the motivation was that Mosaic knows that I screwed up with Schilt,
Oh,
and
yeah.
if I don't extend him, it's gonna. I'm kind of admitting I've made a mistake with this guy, so I'm going to sign him for 2 years and show people that I believe in him. I
I
think
know
that's
this. Oh yeah, I'm with you, Vince. I probably every day. I went last week to Jefferson City to go to a college. Brody's looking at this college down around Jefferson City, and I had this hat on, the Cardinal spring training hat, and about 3 people asked me about the upcoming year, and every single one of them talked about why didn't we keep Schilt? And man, can you believe the guy we got now? The Cardinal fans almost universally across the board love Mike Schilt. He did a great job. He came up through the organization, worked his butt off. I just love the guy. And Ollie's has worked his way up too, but he hasn't had the success that Schilt did. And Schilt was kind of a fire plug, man. He'd get in there and get into it with the umps and stuff. I liked him. I like our first and third base coaches too, who spent a lot of their career down in the minor leagues and worked their way up. I mean, that's kind of a Cardinal way of, you know, earning your stripes and working your way up. So I wish Ollie all the best because we need it. I'm a Cardinal fan. I want to see success. I don't want to see anybody fail, but I do miss Schilt, and I think we would be in better hands. When Schilt came along, we weren't very good defensively, and the Cardinals are usually universally a very good defensive team. And he worked, and I don't know, he changed some of the things around, and then they were like the Gold Glove team for 2 years in a row under Schilt. So man, and he's with the Padres now. So I'll be watching him from across the thing, and I got a feeling he's going to help them be a better team too. You know,
I'm I don't want anyone to get mad at me that are Cardinal fans because I do want to remind you all I did pick them to win the division last year. I did not pick them to be last place.
you did.
Being as honest as I can, this is a transition time for the Cardinals. That's why they signed this archaic pitching staff. Sonny Gray wanted to come here. If Sonny Gray did not want to come here and kind of gave a hometown discount price to the Cardinals, if he didn't want to come here, you wouldn't have Sonny Gray because I don't think the Cardinals would have tried for him. But when they signed Gibson, when they signed
Lynn,
to go along with uh, Michaelis, who seems to be trending downward, it just seems to me they've got all these young players who are not wanting to trade away to get some experience. It seems to me the writing's on the wall. They view this as a transitional time. You sign Marmol for 2 years during that transitional time. And then when the young players start to produce fruit and they get to a point where they can add a couple players here and there through free agency or trade that can help them and they're ready to compete, that may be when they're going to decide, well, maybe we'll go a different direction. I'm not saying that the Cardinals gave up on the season, but to me, why not extend him to go through this transitional time? Because right now the Cardinal job is not attractive to very many established managers. And maybe they have someone in mind in the minors or on the coaching staff that they say in a couple of years are going to be ready to take this team when all this talent starts to come to fruition, when the Victor Scotts and the young players really start to hit their stride, and we get some young pitching in here that's working out well. Tink Hens comes in here and he starts to be what we think he can be. Maybe then that would be a better time to uh, go with different direction with manager. But in the meantime, let's give him 2 years of security. It's not Marmel's fault that they brought in this aging pitching staff. It's not his fault. So there you go. It does. What I'm saying is, it makes kind of sense when I step back and look at it from that perspective. When you look at it, and we do this as fans because we want to win now, we want to win the World Series every year. But when you in a very myopic way, it doesn't make sense. This guy last year was a debacle. There's no other. That's just being honest. Why would you extend him? Well, maybe we're extending him because we anticipate a few more years of transition, and then we'll see what direction we need to go in.
I don't think a Cardinal fan would be upset at that. That's wonderful what you said. It's nothing but positivity, and it's the truth. And truth hurts sometimes, but it's absolutely true. The thing I like, Arenado, who is still, I think, at the top of his game. Maybe he's getting a little bit older now, but he had a chance to opt out of his contract and go somewhere else. And whatever Mozeliak and Schilt and the owner said, he stayed because he wants to win. So he must have some belief that they're making an effort. Now, he came from Colorado, and Colorado, I think anything looks good compared to Colorado, but we're happy to have him. And it made me feel good. Like, oh, he wanted to stay because a player of that talent, he could have went out to New York or the Bostons or the LA or whatever. And, he'd been a superstar because, Vince, you know this, if you play in Wrigley, you play in Detroit, and you play in St. Louis, you don't get the press you do on the coast. I mean, if you're a good player on the coast, you're a legend. If you're a good player in Chicago, they notice you, or St. Louis or Detroit, but it's not, you don't get that, you're not on the Jimmy Kimmel show or, that kind of stuff. So anyway, he could have went anywhere he wanted to, and he stayed here, which made me feel really good. Cardinals, though, we're kind of in this tailwind right now where these young guys, because I believe in Contreras, Arenado, and Goldie. They may not have their best year of their career, but if they just have their average year, that's a great year. It's these young guys that the Cardinals that we're going to live and die with, these young guys, that they're all going to come up and get better and better every year. And this is the team of our future. And I tell you what, if some of them hit, the Walkers, the Wins, the Scotts, like you mentioned, we have some pitchers too, and they've looked good this spring. And just like the Rangers last year, they had all these, DeGrom got hurt and Scherzer got hurt, and there were two huge name, high-priced pitchers, but it was the John Grays and the Evaldis and Montgomery they picked up in the middle of the year that really pushed him over the top. And that Leclerc kid, my gosh, they couldn't have won that thing without him. So they got Chapman too, but Chapman's not quite the same guy he used to be. So it's almost like a team effort. And that bullpen is so important now because the starters are only going less than 5 innings now. So I feel pretty good about our bullpen. So anyway, but I have a take when we do predictions. I think you're going to be proud of me on the Central. So
JJ,
anyway,
I'm always proud of you.
Well, I give the Cubs a lot of love because I respect that organization and I love a lot of the players through the years. And I got to meet that. We'll talk about something later. I'll get back on this. Sonny Gray was named the starting pitcher for the Cardinals. He suffered a hamstring injury, and there was a setback. Cardinals land was very nervous, but it looks like it's not that bad. He's been working. He's going to work on some pitching to live batters here soon. Where he's not going to pitch in spring training because these batters, they'd be laying down bunts, making him run at those bunts. So he's going to pitch to just some Cardinal live batters. And I think he's going to pitch in that first road trip somewhere in there. I think he'll be ready somewhere in there. But now that he's not the opening day pitcher, which I think is an honor, it's Miles Michaelis will be the opening pitcher against the evil empire of the LA Dodgers. So, oh my gosh, it's going to be Michaelis and Yamamoto. Let's rip that Band-Aid off quick, guys, and get through there. And Man, if we go to LA, and I think we're playing a 4-game series, and we get 2, I'd be ecstatic. 1, I'll settle for. But anyway, that's another whole story there.
It's 4 games. You have the first Sunday night baseball game on ESPN, and then you go to San Diego, which
Yeah.
just got
See
better.
Mike Schill. Yeah. But, the Dodgers are going to be like a rock band. They're not going to be like Aerosmith. Everywhere they go, there's going to be huge crowds. The game of the week, they're going to be covering them like, they're going to have the World Series trophy, already polished for them and stuff like that. So I'd like to see anybody knock them off their high horse this year. We had 2 spring spring training games, breakout games, and that was so much fun. Where it was our top prospects against the other team's top prospects. And the first game we played the Florida Marlins and lost 3-2. But Team Kens pitched the first 2 innings and looked fantastic, moving the ball around, changing speeds. He'll be at Memphis this year. I'm going to make a road trip down to Memphis and I don't know if I'll get to see him pitch, but I'm going to try to go down there for a weekend and see a couple of games. And there may be some other top guys down there too. We got some good pitchers, I think, coming. But that's the thing, Vince. You never know if these guys, when they come up to the big leagues, are they just going to be like a long reliever, come up for a couple of years, or will this be somebody we'll look back and say, "Oh my gosh, can't believe the Cardinals drafted that guy and he stayed with them for 12 years and won 150 games." You just never know. But if we have a few of them hit, we'll be okay. The other breakout game we had was against the Astros, and we won that one 1-0. So they're mixing up these prospects and letting them get some playing time, and it's good to see some of these kids get in there and play. But as the season starts, every team's got a few injuries, and here's 4-5 people on the Cardinal roster that will maybe possibly be on the roster when the season starts. We got Sonny Gray. He will be on the roster opening day as it looks at this moment. Not starting off opening day, though, as the starter. Kenya Middleton, the reliever we got who pitched with the White Sox last year, is iffy. I don't know. They don't want to rush him too quickly back, but he's suffering an injury. Lars Nootbaar fractured a couple of ribs, and I know he wants to get back. Just take your time. And with that being said, Tommy Edman hasn't even started swinging the bat yet. So that's Lars and Edman out of the outfield. And everybody's talking about Victor Scott the second, and he's lighting it up, Vince. He gets on base. He could be a center fielder in the pros right now. He's like your guy, PC, that guy you had. He's that along those lines with that kind of speed and that kind of defensive ability. And I don't know if he could hit in the big leagues, but he looks like an electrifying player too. So, man, ain't that something? We both got these guys coming about the same time, and this rivalry is going to get great with these young players. And I'm looking forward to seeing these two play against each other for years and years. And the other one's Packy Naughton, and it doesn't look like he's going to be ready for opening day. He's definitely out. He had 2 years ago, he looked really good. And then last year, we didn't hear much of him. So I hope he gets over his injuries and gets back. And let's see. I think that's about it. I did see something in spring training I loved, Vince. I didn't know if you saw this, but the other day, Rondon was pitching for the Yankees. I think it was today. And he went 5 1/3 innings, was great. And Boone decided to take him out. And Joe Torre, to everybody's surprise, came out in uniform and took the ball from him. And the crowd went nuts. And I think baseball needs to do more of that with our legends. And a lot of young folks don't know these. I can't believe anybody wouldn't know who Joe Torre is that's around right now and a baseball fan. But it was really cool to see that. And Rendon was like, "Oh my gosh, it's Joe Torre," And so it was pretty cool. If you get a chance, see that video.
And then Torre looked around and said, "Where's Rivera? I usually give the ball to Rivera. Where's he at?"
Yeah. Everything's easier when you got Rivera coming in.
Oh yeah. Well, Cub news, not a whole lot going on. Jamison Tyone has his back issues. He hopes to be ready early in the season, early in April. So we have Steele, Hendricks, Imanaga, and Wicks will be the four, and fifth starter to start the season, depending on how long Tyone is out, will be either Assad, Wisniewski, hopefully not Drew Smiley, but paying him 12.
He kills us. Drew Smiley kills us.
Well,
I hope it ain't Drew Smiley.
well, I think Assad has one more option. I think Wisniewski has a few. Smiley, of course, is not going anywhere. He's going to be in the bullpen if he doesn't start. So we'll see. And the good thing is, at the beginning of the year, you do have the extra days off right there that first series. So that would be advantageous to Tyone. But then after he gets the back issues, he's got to, build himself up and everything. So it's hopefully be back sooner than later. We optioned two more to off to the minor leagues. Keegan Thompson, right-hander, who's pitched 2 years ago. He had a really good year for the Cubs. Last year, he was up and down between AAA and Chicago, and just couldn't put it together at the big league level. Matt Mervis has been sent down, and I do think that Mervis wasn't given serious consideration for the first base job this year at all. We brought in Michael Bush from the Dodgers and just gave him the first base position. I know why. When I see him, that guy's a player. He can swing the bat. We also brought in Dominic Smith and Garrett Cooper, who are first basemen, and I'll get into that in just a moment. So I'm thinking Matt Mervis has fallen off the radar of the Cubs brass, and they're going to look to trade him somewhere along, go to a team where he can get his shot, because they just obviously do not believe that his game is suited for being a full-time first baseman in the major leagues. And probably right. He's had an okay spring training. I think he's only hit one home run, but he's hit about 300, but it hasn't done anything outstanding. There are four players that are in camp that are really intriguing, and there's no way we're going to keep all of these players. We brought in two first basemen, former All-Star Garrett Cooper and former Mets first-round draft pick Dominic Smith. Well, they are first baseman DH types, and Michael Bush is going to get the bulk of the playing time. But this is what Garrett Cooper is doing in spring training. He's hitting 300 with 2 home runs and 5 RBIs. Dominic Smith is hitting 400 with a home run. So we've got 2 veteran options that we could have on the bench that can also play some DH and play some first base. There's no way we can keep both of them. I mean, someone's going to get cut, or if they accept their option to the minors, that when they brought in Cooper and Smith, I thought, why? We've got Mike Bush and Mervis and Bellinger. But now it's starting to make a little bit of sense that it's just apparent they don't believe in Mervis, and they brought these 2 veteran bats in, and they're both having a pretty good spring. So one of them's going to go north with the team. We also brought in outfielder David Peralta, former All-Star, and so far he has 9 at bats and 3 hits. So in very, very limited time, he's put the bat on the ball. Is he going to be able to crack? I mean, we know we have 4 outfielders because Council told Mike Talkman, you're the 4th outfielder, period.
Oh.
So, we're going to have Happ. We're going to have Bellinger. We're going to have Suzuki, and we're going to have Talkman. Do we have room for a 5th outfielder that only plays the outfield in David Peralta? I don't know. But that's just kind of interesting. But this is what's really intrigued me. One of my favorite pitchers that the Cubs had back in the teens was Carl Edwards Jr.
Yes.
Hard thrower, good curveball. Pitched that 10th inning of the World Series, Game 7, ran into some trouble, and then we brought in Mike Montgomery, who got his very first save of the season in the World Series. But I've always liked Carl Edwards Jr., and we brought him back this year on a minor league deal. And he has pitched 5 2/3 of an inning. He has 5 strikeouts and a whip of 0.88. He's allowed 1 earned run. He's looked good. And
Yeah.
uh, boy, he's kind of thrown a monkey wrench into the bullpen here because he's got a really good shot at making the team. But these are 4 players that are really intriguing that I didn't think we were bringing them to camp to give them a serious look, maybe some depth if necessary. But I've liked what these 4 players have shown, so very happy about it. You know who else is happy about this?
Would it be our close friend Jeremy Connor?
Jeremy Connor is very happy about these intriguing players.
He's a huge Carl Edwards fan.
Oh, yeah, yeah. Comes a time in every man's life when he needs some advice on relationships. You need to listen to the podcast DMDR, which stands for Dating, Marriage, Divorce, Remarriage, from my good friend Jeremy Connor, the Dr. Phil of the Boot Hill. You can find DMDR on Spotify or whatever platform you choose to listen to your podcast. All right. I do before we go any further, I do want to apologize that last week's show went 2 hours and 7 minutes.
We got windy.
Under an hour and a half, and we just kept going and going and going.
Oh yeah.
So anyway,
I heard some good things. People like the memories and just the years and how they thought of some of their memories they were sharing with me. So that's pretty cool.
Well, good. I had fun doing it. So
yeah, it was a good time.
Yeah. It's that time of the year we do our predictions. We're going to predict the teams that are in the playoffs, who we think is going to win the World Series, and some of the major awards. And I'm going to start with Max, who's not here, but he did submit his predictions. And then me and you can crucify him because he's not here.
He'll probably beat us, Vince.
He likes the American League East. He's got Baltimore winning the division, and he's got the Rays and the Yankees as wild card teams. Can't argue there.
Right.
In the American League Central, he's picking Detroit. Interesting. In the AL West, he has Texas winning the division, with Houston being the wild card team. What do you think about his American League predictions?
Vince, I agree with him on everything except there was one flip-flop. I go with the East. Can I kind of go through mine here and tell you how I agree with him? The East, I have Baltimore winning it. I think now with Corbin Burns up there and that team, and then you're going to have Jackson Holiday coming, it looks as at the moment. By the way, the 3 of the big prominent rookies all have the name Jackson. One of my favorite names. So it's Jackson Mania, baby. Yeah. So anyway, with all that going on in Baltimore, I just think it's just the planets have lined up, and this could be a very big year for them. I put the Yankees number 2. It's nothing to do with their injuries so far, but I just don't think they're quite as, I don't know. It's almost like a bunch of superstars on a team instead of a team. And they have moments where all of them could pull the weight, but it never seems like they all pull together at the same time. That's my thought on them. And then I put Tampa Bay because of that Tampa Bay magic, which you referred to, and I put all 3 of them making the playoffs. I put Blue Jays 4th. I don't think they're going to make the playoffs this year. And then last place, it's kind of easy. But this Red Sox team could be like you said, Vince, before, they could be a 500 club team because that division is so talented. Going to the Central, you won't believe this, but I picked the Tigers too. I think they're young, superstar young players are all going to come together, and this could be good time in Motor City for the Tigers. I put Cleveland just not quite as good as the Tigers this year. And over in the West, I flip-flopped. He picked the Rangers, and then the wild card would be the Astros. I put the Astros winning that division. I know they don't have Dusty Baker anymore, but I just think that's a good talented team, and some of those guys are they got a nice mix of veterans and young kids, and this could be their year. And Rangers as the wild card team. So me and Max almost go right together, except for that we have both have those two teams and the Astros and Rangers, but I have the Astros winning it and the Rangers being the wild card.
Okay. In the East, I have Baltimore winning, and I have Toronto and Tampa as the two wild card teams.
Oh,
The Yankees, there's something I don't trust about them. I
yeah.
I think their Judge tends to get injured. I don't like Rizzo's bat anywhere except Yankee Stadium, so I think he's a liability. And they're saying, he was bothered by the concussion last year. He should be better this year. Rizzo is also getting to be an old man. The Yankees are getting kind of long in the tooth. So I've got Toronto finishing second and Tampa Bay finishing third, and those two teams being wild card teams. On paper, this is another year where I look at Tampa Bay and I'm thinking, now it's not a wild card team, but that's not a playoff team, but they surprise me every year. So I quit picking against them.
Amen. You're right.
And we got Boston, in the cellar, and it doesn't help that they're in this absolutely stacked division. But I think realistically, besides Boston, the other four teams, you can shake them up. And I mean, I could see a scenario where New York wins it, and then you've got Tampa, Toronto, Baltimore. They're all really good, and they're gonna beat each other up a little bit. So in the Central, I also have Detroit.
All right.
I have Kansas City second, Minnesota third. I've got Cleveland fourth. I just don't see Cleveland with Francona retiring. Um, they've done very little I mean, they've got budget problems, so they're not adding anything. And it looks like that, they're probably going to start peddling a few of these players off. So, and then the White Sox are a mess, but I think Detroit wins with maybe, 85, 86 wins. But I do like Kansas City's team. I do like what they've done. They've decided we're not going to put together an all-star team, but we are putting together a team that's going to compete in this division. Now watch them fall flat on their face. But anyway, I do like that. In the West, I have Houston winning it and the Rangers getting that other wild card slot, followed by Seattle, Los Angeles, and the Renegades, I guess we can call them the Oakland team. So
Yeah.
we're pretty close on
Yeah.
all of our predictions. Just a few off in the American League. So awesome.
Yeah.
And I'll go with his National League. In the East, he's got Atlanta winning the division and Philadelphia as a wild card team. In the Central, he's got the Cubs winning the division, and he's got the Reds as a wild card team. And in the Central. In the West, he's got the Dodgers winning the division, and the Diamondbacks is the wild card team. What do you have in the National League?
Well, we'll start over in the East. I got the Atlanta Braves winning that division and the Phillies finishing second, and Phillies being a wild card team. I do have the Mets, the Marlins, and the Nationals following.
Hey, just like I have it.
Now, in the Central, you guys remember I'm a Cardinal fan. I think it's going to be a better year. I think we're going to be competitive. And I think it's going to come down to that last month. And I think the Cubs are going to win the division. And this is why I got two reasons for saying that. One, it comes down to this. I like how we stack up against the Cubs. I think they're going to be very good competitive games. Last year, we weren't even competitive some of the time. But this is a good time. Both teams, good young players, good great players in their primes. I do think the Cubs have the better pitching. The bullpens, I think, stack up pretty close, I think. But here's the big thing. You guys have Craig Counsell. He's been there. He's done that. I think he's the best manager in baseball. It's kind of like when you guys got Joe Madden. I thought, oh, crap, here we go. So I'm picking the Cubs to win by about 2 or 3 games. And I think he makes that difference over the course of the year. It comes down to who stays healthy. I think the Cardinals are going to be right around that 500, maybe 82, 83 wins. But I just think we're going to miss the playoffs this year. But if we go down to the final month and we're within 3, 4 games of first place, I'll be a pretty happy customer. And the second reason I say the Cubs and the Cardinals finishing second is because when the Cardinals are underrated and we're always the underdog, we always see them rise to the occasion. When we are the favorite, it's when we fall apart. So maybe that, the baseball gods will show us a little mercy and we'll pick up a few games here and there. But I do pick the Cubs winning the division, and that's the only team I have coming to the playoffs from our division is the Cubs. Now, over in the West, I have the Dodgers winning it, the Evil Empire. I have the Giants finishing second, and the Padres finishing third. And I have the Giants and the Padres being wildcard teams. And I think Arizona is going to have that sophomore slump. They've got a lot of young players. We've all seen them now. And I don't know if they have injuries, if they can sustain their bench and everything, if they can sustain it going down the stretch. They were great last year and a big surprise, and it was a great story. But I see them finishing fourth in that division, and it being the Dodgers, the Giants, and then the Padres, and that's the wild card teams right there.
Okay. Like I said, our National League East are exactly the same. Atlanta winning the division, second place Philly with wild card, the Mets, the Marlins, who I think are going to regress a bit, and Washington, who just needs a lot of help. In the Central, we differ a lot. I've got the Cubs winning it, but I see our main competition being Cincinnati. I
They're
like
good.
that young team. I like the speed that they have. And I just think they're going in the right direction. And their talent coming up is very highly thought of.
That
Uh,
stadium's perfect for that style of team too. That
yeah.
that short porch. I think they're going. Yeah, that's a good stadium for them. I got them finishing third.
Yeah. And Friedel being out's going to hurt if he's missed significant time. But I do like that team. Um, I like Pittsburgh. I like what they've done. They've added, and O'Neill Cruz is having an unconscious sprain, and if he can stay healthy, he's really good. Would put them to the third place because initially I didn't have them in third place. Is putting Michael Taylor in center field to run down and catch everything. Um, you've got a what I consider to be a Gold Glove caliber center fielder now. And I just like the way that team is heading. I got the Cardinals fourth. I'm not bullish on the Cardinals. I
Okay.
I see them as a team that's transitioning. They're not going to come out and tell their fans they're transitioning, but that's when you sign a Gibson and you sign a Lance Lynn um, as two of the anchors in your starting staff. That's telling me we're giving the ball to someone who can eat innings, and then we're going to try to filter in some starting pitching, some of our young starting pitching to see how it goes. I could see the Cardinals getting rid of either Goldschmidt or Arenado at the trade deadline if they can get a good enough haul.
Could
Um,
be.
I thoroughly expect Victor Scott to be playing a lot this year. I think they're going to take a good hard look at him. And like I mentioned last week, you can't teach speed. Vince Coleman was not a great hitter, but he was like a power hitter, not a home run hitter, but if he got on base at a 310 clip on base percentage, uh, a walk or a single is a double or a triple because he's going to take those bases. And with everything shifting to the advantage being with the base runner, when you've got a player with that kind of speed, I could see him coming up and just saying, okay, you've played around with your Newt Bars and your Carlsons and players like that. Um, I'm different. And
Mhm.
I could see him having a huge impact this year.
All
Um,
right.
Milwaukee, I'm when you've lost the best pitcher and your closer who's the best thing on your pitching staff is going to be start the year on the injured list. I just
And
don't.
Craig Counsell,
Great
yeah.
counsel. I just see them slipping pretty bad. But I just have the Cubs winning the division. I don't have them winning anybody else winning the wild card out of that division.
I mean,
In the West, I'm kind of like you. I picked the Dodgers because if they don't win it, yeah, it's going to be terrible. I like the Padres now that they got Dylan Cease. Um, when I first put this together, I had the Dodgers, then I had the Diamondbacks, and then I had the Padres, and then I had the Giants. After yesterday, I've switched all that up. I've got the Dodgers, I've got San Diego in second place making the playoffs. And it's not just Dylan Cease being there. I think not Skip Schumacher, Mike Schilt is one of those few managers who's not going to get outmanaged. And not only that, um, I think he is a leader of men.
I do
And
too.
when you've got Tatis Jr., you've got Machado, you've got the talent that they still have, maybe it's Juan Soto leaving the team will be kind of a good thing to get that ego out of there because Juan Soto just didn't perform. He was good, but he was not Juan Soto. Machado, he's the kind of player who's a little moody and he can go into his funks where he just doesn't care. And I think that Schultz is the type of manager that can keep him focused. And I expect a big year out of him. I got the Giants finishing third, and I have them making the playoffs because when you can put Logan Webb and Blake Snell, and everybody knows I'm not a big Blake Snell fan, but he is going to be an asset to that team. When you've got those two players anchoring your starting staff, that's a heck of a team or a heck of a.
Solar may have really find his spot over there too in the middle of that lineup.
That's Solar is going to be the first Giant to hit 30 home runs since Barry Bonds.
All right, you heard it here first.
Yeah, and that's been one of the problems with the Giants. Like JD Martinez did not. Giants wanted him. He didn't want to go there because he doesn't want to hit in that ballpark. Soler is a right-hander, and a right-hander, it's a lot easier to hit it out of San Francisco than it is a left-hander, especially with that right center area that's just you could put a cornfield out there, so much room. So I've got Arizona sliding to fourth.
Same here.
The playoffs. I know they had a tremendous run and they got hot. Reality is this team was an 84 win team. This was not a great team. This was a hot team. And I just don't believe in the offense enough for them to make the playoffs. So that's the way I've called it. Max, he believes that Baltimore is going to win the World Series over Atlanta. What are you picking?
Well, me and Max are almost right across the board. I do have Baltimore and the Braves meeting, but I have the Atlanta Braves winning the World Series.
I've got the Padres going to the World Series and then beating the Blue Jays.
Wow. Hey, you had Blue Jays last year too, and I think in that
and I still believe in them.
Yes.
With the amount of players that they had that had down years, Guerrero, Biggio,
Springer.
I just think this team is going to bounce back and make some noise. I liked them last year, but this year I'm hoping if they play to their potential, I see them doing some great things. For awards, Max has MVP. He's got Corbin Carroll, good pick, and Corey Seager is the MVPs. For Cy Young, he's got Spencer Strider and Tarek Skubal of the Tigers winning the Cy Young. And for Rookie of the Year, he's got Jordan Lawler, the shortstop for the Diamondbacks, and Jackson Holliday winning the awards. What do you think about his picks?
I think they're great picks. I agree with them a lot. I like them because I agreed with them. But I have some. This is fun. This is. There's so much talent in baseball. But you mentioned the MVP first. I put Juan Soto of the Yankees. He. This is his walk year. He's going to be wanting to go free agent, and I think he's going to be focused. And with that team and those players around him, if Judge and oh. The big outfielder that's always hurt. Yeah, that he's in that lineup. Good, good. My gosh, that's gonna be tough. And I think Soto's gonna rise to the occasion and be the MVP in the American League. And I'm putting Mookie Betts as the MVP because one of the big things about Mookie, he'll play anything, anywhere you want him to play. He's a all-star no matter where you put him. You put him in the outfield, second base, and I think he's gonna play shortstop now, is some of the talk. And that guy is just he's one of those guys that go see him if he comes to town because you'll miss, you wish you had when his playing days are over. So I put Soto and Betts. I think that's kind of easy picks. They're top 10 in everybody's list. You say Cy Young. I'm going with Corbin Burns, and I believe in Baltimore this year. I have him going to the World Series, and I think one of the big reasons is Burns likes to take the ball. He wants to pitch on opening day, and that guy is a stud. And with that team, offense and defense around him, big year from Corbin Burns. We might have a 20-game winner on our hands if he stays healthy. And in the National League, I have Spencer Strider, the quad god, the guy with the big quadriceps. That guy is a fantastic pitcher. I hate to face him when the Cardinals have to play Atlanta, and I believe so. That's my picks: Burns and Strider as the Cy Youngs. And for Rookie of the Year, I feel like I kind of cheated here, but technically Yamamoto is a rookie. Is he really a rookie? No, but he could. Ichiro won the Rookie of the Year, so I'm picking Yamamoto. This guy looks like he's special, and it's going to take a while for the league to even, I don't know, they're going to be able to catch up or even figure out what he's doing. And he's on the Dodgers, and so I pick Yamamoto. I don't think that's a fair pick, but that's an easy pick. And I'm picking Jackson Holliday with Baltimore as the American League Rookie of the Year. So me and Max agreed in a lot of those.
I for the MVP in the National League, I got Fernando Tatis Jr. winning the MVP.
All right.
He had a decent year last year after coming back. He has made himself the best outfielder in the game
It's great.
defensively, and I just think this is a year where he's a couple years away from that suspension, and he's gonna really turn it on. And I also have Juan Soto of the Yankees for
Yeah.
the reason you said. It's a contract year. He's going to be highly motivated. He's got all kinds of protection around him. But like I said, the Yankees, the thing that makes me nervous is they're injury prone and they're getting a little older. So, uh,
It's true.
but motivation, that may be a
Oh, money to motivate you.
for Cy Young in the National League. I have Hunter Green. Um,
Ooh.
uh, I considered Spencer Strider, and I got Max's picks before I decided to pick mine. I thought I'm going to go with Hunter Green just to be different, because those were the two I was really liking, and I also have Corbin Burns winning in the American League. So you are correct there.
Thank
And
you.
for Rookie of the Year, I did consider Yamamoto's, but I didn't want to. I didn't want to go that route. I hope he doesn't win it. I don't care if he has a good year or not, but I like it to go to a young player. And I did specifically watch the other day. Paul Skeens pitched for the
Ooh,
Pirates. He's real.
he's
He
good.
he is nasty, and not confident, confident and nasty. I like that, and that's one of the reasons why I bumped Pittsburgh up to third place because I like what he's bringing to the ballpark. And we all three are picking Jackson Holliday for Rookie of the Year in the American League. So, and watch it go to some guy named uh Paul Oddbody or somebody who nobody knows. So
It happens. It happens.
I debated Victor Scott in the National League, And
Yeah.
I'm serious. I really think if he gets called up, he can be one of these game changers just because of speed. And man, if I'm the Cardinals and I'm coming off a 91 win season and I realize that this isn't really like a championship team, I throw his butt out there because we hear of these players that are prospects that we're high on. Most of them don't make it. They have careers, but most of them aren't all stars. But you just can't teach speed, and speed is just not a big part of the game anymore. And when you get a road runner out there that no one else is running like that, except for the guy in Oakland who's buried in that team, uh,
Really?
I just think he's going to be a game changer. So
The Cardinals are talking about doing a righty lefty all the way down and like win batting maybe eighth or ninth. And if it is Victor Scott, they're talking about moving Goldie up to the 2 spot. That way you keep that righty lefty going, and then Gorman, and then Arenado, Contreras. It's just all the way down. I like our lineup. I really do. I think we can hang with a lot of teams, and I like our defense, especially Victor Scott's man in center field. You put Carl, and I think Dylan Carlson's a very good fielder, but you put him in left, and then you got Walker in right. It's a young, very young outfield, but that's a go and get an outfield right there. That could make up a big difference for the Gibson and Lins on the team. So we'll see. It's going to be exciting, Vince. We're almost there.
and I will save my picks so when the season's over, I can once again expose my ignorance.
That's a great thing about this, Vince. We're all just excited, and this is why we feel and we love it. Gives us another reason to watch all these other teams.
It is. It's a reason to wake up in the morning
Amen, man. I like
at
that.
4:30 in the morning to watch the first games.
I'm ready. I'm there.
I am so ready, so pumped. So anyway, JJ, what are you opening up?
Oh, I got a few other cards to show you, but this is sponsored by Tom Majay, good friend of the show. He's going to be playing that fantasy league. Let us know if you want to be a part of it. We're going to be picking names next week. That's a big thing. Our first annual podcast fantasy league, and I'm excited about this. But Tom Majay sponsored. I have a 2024 pack right off the presses right there. I'll be opening.
Nice.
Yes. Let's see here. I love these new cards. Let me get them all pointing in the right direction here. And let me know if you can see these. This is a young Minnesota Twin first baseman outfield, Alex Kurloff. I don't know him very well, but there he is. Nice card. I like the look of those cards.
I think
A player.
he's the grandson of Boris Karloff.
Oh, yeah. Here's a player.
Never gonna want to see my comedy.
Here's a player I kind of forgot about, but he's had a nice career. Washington National Patrick Corbin.
Oh yeah, he's had a pretty good career.
He's had a nice career. Second baseman, Toronto Blue Jay, a team you're high on. Dave Schneider. Vince, you know anything about him, Mr. Schneider?
No.
Was he on One Day at a Time? Hey, I got you right there. Oh, here's a guy who's had a long career, been with a few teams. I think of him as a Tampa Bay player, Evan Longoria.
Oh yeah. Yep.
Very good. He's a big piece of that Arizona team last year. Oh, we got a Cardinal wearing those pants up high, Lars Newbar, right there. Very popular in St. Louis. If you go to a Cardinal game, you'll hear that all over the ballpark when he comes up there. Very popular player. California Angel or Anaheim Angel or however you want to put it, LA Angel. Jose Soriano. Do not know anything about Jose Soriano, to be honest with you. All right. Oh, Cincinnati Red. Vince is big on these guys climbing the ladder, and this is a big reason. Pitcher, reliever Alex Diaz.
Oh yeah.
Right there. Yeah, wearing those City Connect uniforms. I haven't seen the Cardinal ones yet. They still haven't put those out. Oh, perfect pose. This is the perfect card for this gentleman. A Rosarina right there. Yeah, I love that card. That'd be a great one to get signed. Uh, Florida Marlin Jacob Amaya. There you go. There's Jacob Amaya. All you Jacob Amaya fans out there. A superstar of the NBA of the NBA. I opened that football pack one time. I'm scared now. Sal Frilic of the Brewers, right there. You know, that's the kind of team you got you're the Brewers. You got Sal Frilic on there. You're the Cubs. You got PCA Cardinals. We got Win. They got Sal Frilic. Angels. Let's see, Griffin Canning. Don't know anything about him.
Oh, pretty card.
Yeah. And the last one, Kansas City Royals. I am excited to watch them play. And Brad Keller, I have on the team right there. So that's my pack. And Vince, if I can, I was going to share a quick story. I went to the card show, or I went to the card show, and I got to meet Jack Clark. So I got a couple cards signed by Jack Clark right there. I like that card. And then him running the bases. I don't remember Jack Clark really being big on running the bases, but I got that signed. And one of the things I like these montage pictures, and I got a big 11 by 14. I don't know if you can see it without the glare, but it's him through his whole career, and he put Jack the Ripper on there. It's got the Cardinals, the Giants, and the Yankee poses on there. So that's pretty cool. I was just going to throw in a little bit of that. And that's my baseball cards.
Okay. I am once more opening a 1989 Future Stars.
All right.
The minor leagues. And once again, let's see if we know any of these guys.
All right.
Outfielder for the Phoenix. What's that?
Heroes Jr.
Outfielder for the Phoenix Firebirds, Paul Myers.
I don't know.
Outfielder for the Tacoma Tigers, Steve Howard. Pitcher for the Tidewater Tides, John Mitchell.
John Mitchell. No, don't ring a bell.
Pitcher, I do remember this guy. Had a few stints in the big leagues for the Oklahoma City 89ers, Drew Hall.
I can't say I remember him.
I think he may have pitched for the Cubs a little bit, but I think he was a Ranger or something.
Okay.
Outfielder for the Buffalo Bisons, Reggie Williams.
That's a real common name. I've heard of some Reggie Williams, but I don't remember him.
Catcher for the Omaha Royals, Ed Hearn, who also played for the Mets.
Yes, that's how I remember him, Ed Hearn.
Former All-Star pitcher for the Astros, now this time pitching for the Rochester Red Wings, Pete Harnish.
Oh yeah, came up with Baltimore. I remember him with the Baltimore Orioles.
Yeah. Pitcher for the Tucson Toros, Anthony Kelly.
Can't say I do.
This guy did play in the major leagues. Catcher for Colorado Springs, Mark Salas.
Yes, he was a Cardinal too. Catcher. That's right.
And pitcher for the Portland Beavers, Larry Cassian. No bells.
I would like to get some of those teams' T-shirts. I think that'd be cool. The Mud Hens and the Tidewater team and all that. That'd be pretty cool.
It's all online.
Yes.
So, all right. Well, JJ, next week we can talk about our team's opening day, look at the lineups, look at the roster, just cry.
If the Cardinals sweep the Dodgers, I don't know. I'm going to be running in traffic. It's going to get crazy, folks.
All right. If the Cubs sweep the Rangers, I will not run in traffic. Okay. Um, I'll be happy though. So,
Oh
but
yeah.
AJ, you have a good week
You
and
too, sir.
enjoy the games we have the next 2 days. And we will.
Tomorrow morning.
That's right. All right. Well, you have a good one. Thank you, everybody.